2021, Rec Room was valued at $3.5 billion, but now it's shutting down. Welcome back for some weekly VR news, your roundup of everything that's been happening in the world of virtual reality and immersive tech. Today, we've got studio closures, layoffs, a platform reversal, and some new hardware. And Cyberpunk is now in VR. Well, kinda. Let's dive into it. Let's start with the news that's the most devastating. Rec Room, one of the longest running social VR platforms, is shutting down. And for a lot of people, this is genuinely upsetting. I personally have very fun times in Rec Room, so this is very sad to see. I also get told I sound like Coach a lot.
Oh no. Is Rec Room really over?
But Rec Room has been around since 2016 and was one of the first places people built real communities in VR. It had millions of users, it also had user-created rooms, games within games, and it was its own little world. And the game raised over $294 million in funding and was valued at $3.5 billion in 2021. On June 1st, it's shutting down for good. But what happened? Well, signs of issues at the studio started showing last year when the team announced they were laying off about half their team. In their announcement last year, they kind of admitted that their vision was maybe a bit too big and they were trying to compete with the big players like Roblox. They tried to make the game cross-platform across multiple devices like PC, mobile, console, and VR, but in supporting so many platforms, it created issues. And with a large team, reportedly over 350 staff, they had to find ways to make money. So they experiment with various UGC monetization tools, which allowed anyone to make content for the game and profit from it. But due to its cross-platform support, this meant a lot of bugs and issues. So they introduced Maker AI to try and streamline some of the creation. But that upset a lot of their creators, and a lot of them started to abandon the game. Now, this is a huge gut punch for the social VR space, but I don't really think it's a reflection of the state of VR. I think Rec Room maybe bit off a bit more than they can chew, and alienated its audience in the process. They said they couldn't work out how to monetize the game. But if studios like Gorilla Tag and VR Chat can do it, clearly the free-to-play social gaming model does work. But if you expand too quickly and then need to feed a ton of staff at the same time, then maybe they're setting themselves up for failure. And to be honest, I feel like this was the same problem for Horizon Worlds. They were too ambitious and too aggressive and alienated their audiences in the process. It's really tragic to see this game shutting down and sad to see people losing their jobs, but sadly, it's not happening in isolation. Polyarc, the studio behind Moss and Moss Book 2, announced significant layoffs last month. The reason? They couldn't secure funding after a major project was cancelled. The exact number of people affected hasn't been disclosed, but it was described as a significant reduction in the size of the company. Polyarc joins a growing and pretty depressing list. Meta did announce they shut down several of its first-party studios earlier this year, along with the Gravy Train. Dreams closed 2 studios, Mighty Coconut had cuts, and I know of a few more that haven't really announced anything. It's a rough time to be a VR developer right now. But the reality is, I think a lot of VR was being falsely inflated by Meta. And like they said, the gravy train is over and now studios are just recalibrating. They're working leaner and more efficiently to adjust to the potential lack of funding. We may see more of it, to be honest, but from what I've seen from behind the scenes, there's still a lot of positive momentum happening, and this is just an adjustment period. But now we've got the doom and gloom out of the way. You guys know I often talk about the screens strapped to your face, but what about the screens connected to your gaming PC? Well, after using the same display for the last 6 years, I've finally upgraded my gaming monitor thanks to today's sponsor. And I didn't know how bad my monitor was in comparison. Thanks to MSI, I now have an MPG 341CQR QD OLED gaming monitor, and it's a stunner. For starters, it has a 5th generation tandem QD OLED display, which means it has an RGB stripe layout, fundamentally elevating display quality. QD stands for quantum dot, which is an even superior to OLED alone. And that's thanks to its improved color brightness, near infinite contrast, and very fast response times. And if you ever tried OLED before, this is next level. The 34-inch curved monitor boasts a 3440 by 1440 resolution display, a 360Hz refresh rate, and a 0.03 millisecond response time for stunning clarity and speed. This monitor also has some pretty nifty features too. It has a sensor that automatically makes it sleep when you leave and wakes up when you enter the room. I'm so blown away with how good this monitor looks, and I can't wait to dive further into gaming and creating with it. You can check the link in the description description to learn more about this incredible monitor. But thanks to MSI for sponsoring this video and hooking me up with a sick new monitor. Okay, now some slightly better news. A few weeks ago, Meta announced they were shutting down Horizon Worlds on Quest headsets entirely and moving it to the web and mobile only. That caused a lot of concern and also a lot of support as well. But then a few days later, they just changed their minds and reversed their decision.
I have a little bit of good news here for you then. We have decided, just today in fact, that we will keep Horizon Worlds working in VR for existing games.
Classic Meta. Some Horizon Worlds, specifically those built on Unity, will still be accessible in VR on Quest. I don't know for how long, so it's not full reversal, but it's something, I guess. The Horizon engine-based worlds are still going away, so it's a partial save, I guess. I personally don't care for Horizon Worlds, and I'm kind of glad to see it disappear from the main store, but I'm sad for all the Horizon World gamers and creators out there. I think all people wanted was it just gone from being shoved down our throats. It can still exist, but just let it exist on its own, you know? But anyway, it's a bit frustrating that Meta can't stick to a decision. This doesn't show a lot of confidence in the company sometimes. On the hardware side at Meta and Ray-Ban have announced 2 new styles of their smart glasses lineup, the Blazer and the Scriber. And these are now available for pre-order if that's your jam. The Ray-Ban Meta glasses have actually been one of Meta's big success stories outside of the lawsuits, but you can watch my other video about that. So it makes sense they're doubling down on more styles and pushing harder with the tech. But Meta has also been actively taking down websites facilitating piracy on Quest. This has been an ongoing cat and mouse situation for a while, but it sounds like they're ramping up enforcement. I know a lot of game developers say piracy is a big issue for them, so it's great that Meta's taking action. It's not a huge story, but it's worth knowing about. Anything that supports game developers, I'm all for. I just hope this doesn't affect modding, because I like to mod Beat Saber. But here's some fun news. Cyberpunk 2077 is coming to VR. Well, in zero latency. It's going to be a free roam VR experience only available at zero latency locations. And Zero Latency is a warehouse scale VR experience company. You go to one of their venues, you put on a backpack and with a PC in it and a VR headset, and you get to physically walk around a big space with other people. It's a really fun experience, but you can only do it at their warehouses. And now Night City is one of those spaces. I think the idea of walking around Night City in VR sounds really fun, and I might go check it out. It just sucks it's not a full proper VR release, but it's kind of cool to know that VR is on CD Projekt Red's radar because I'm a big fan of their games. And finally, Sony has increased the price of the PlayStation 5 in several markets. This directly affects PSVR 2 fans because obviously PSVR 2 needs a PlayStation to run it. So if you've been on the fence about getting into PSVR 2, this just made that decision a little bit more expensive. And it's part of the broader trend of hardware price increases we're seeing across the industry right now. And it's not great timing given PSVR's 2 already niche position in the market. And I was kind of thinking about buying a PlayStation 5 Pro for PSVR 2 and Fable when it releases. So when they announced a price increase, I was a total chump and I bought one. So if you want a PlayStation 5 versus PlayStation 5 Pro comparison video for the PlayStation VR 2, let me know because I think that could be interesting. But I'm excited I bought it, but might have a bit of buyer's regret. Hopefully it's good. But that's everything for this week's VR news. It's been a lot, and honestly more bad than good, but that's where we're at right now. And if you found this video useful, make sure to subscribe. I cover everything VR from gaming and hardware, so make sure to subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.